Samples up on the house so that we don't fill the voids of the stucco and end up seeing the patches after we paint the house. We're going to be applying paint by sprayer without back rolling so that we can keep the texture of the stucco and not fill the voids. We want stucco to still continue to look like stucco, not look like painted stucco. So that's very important when you're putting samples up, that you don't grab a roller and just start rolling the paint into the stucco. So what happens is this stucco's never been painted before, and so it's very porous. So if we take water-based paint and start applying it directly to it, it's going to want to absorb it in and grab onto it really quickly, which basically dries and builds the level of paint that you are applying to the surface. So what I do is I apply a little bit of water and allow that to kind of grab onto the surface first. Remember, these are just samples. I wouldn't do this when you're painting a house. We are just using a cheap chip brush. You can use a nice brush, you can use whatever you want. Okay, so this is going to take longer than if we were to use a roller, but it's going to achieve what we want, which is no issues later on once we actually go to paint the house. So when we're applying this paint, we're not going to paint it like we're trying to cover it all in 1 second. So very thin and light, and we're just trying to move it around. I don't want to fill these voids like this little bit of paint, because that is going to fill the whole surface too much. So it's going to take a minute to get it up. On the big flat surfaces, you can put more paint like this because you're not technically filling anything. You're just painting the actual top of the surface. Adding water to it is going to allow it to fill in the voids without making it thick. So that takes way longer than rolling, but when we come back to spray, it's not going to be completely filled and there won't be squares on the wall. The other thing is yes, you can still see the old color through this. This is just a sample. We're just doing this so that you can get the color, get the idea of the color, see it in the light or the shade. We are not trying to paint it solid. When we go to paint the house, obviously, you wouldn't want to use this style of painting. You'd want to get it painted full and complete and all the way through, but we don't want to do that until we get to painting the house. And also, once this is dried, I'll take full formula paint, not watered down paint, and just make sure I go back over it lightly so we're getting the true color and that it's not transparent. So water coat and then paint coat.